So if your feet collapse or your arch essentially collapses and you're hypermobile, there are different reasons why that's happening, and taping may be a good fit for you. I personally like taping my patients' feet because it allows sensory input to the brain. So it's not so much stabilizing it in place, like it's not a brace, it's a tape, but taping sends sensory stimulation to your brain so your brain can see your feet better and the position that you like for your feet to be in. It's very, very important for you to understand that you want to avoid the things that actually lead to the instability of your feet. Your feet really get a lot of blame for a lot of things, and I want to make sure you understand that this joint right here, I don't know if you can see, this joint looks at the structures above, and then based on what's happening above, tell your midfoot and your forefoot how to stabilize your body. So if the structures above are being compromised and they're not stable, well, it's hard to balance you. So typically in a hypermobile foot, what ends up happening is either this joint is unstable or these little bones in the feet, when you're standing up, they simply collapse down. So I'm going to tape myself, which in a way you want to tape yourself too. I want to tape myself for lifting the arch of the foot and stabilizing my ankle better. Every time I tape my patients, I make sure that when I see them next time, I ask them, when you take the tape off, what did you wish you could do to your foot? That typically tells me the next area that this foot wishes for stability. And so I use that in my taping, my subsequent taping. And I record every time I tape because that allows me to see a history of development. And the whole goal is to optimize the taping sessions and the amount of taping. So just for a simple arch support taping and ankle stability taping, I've already pre-cut these three. I use rock tape for sensitive skin. That's only when I use tape for my patients. As a hypermobile individual, you do want to remove adhesive tape remover to remove the tape because sometimes the skin gets pulled with it. My experience with rock tape has been good. I have only had definitely less than 0.5% of my patients have responded negatively to the tape by having little bumps as a result of that, but overall the response has been nice. So what I want to do for better arch support is I want to go, first of all, I need to be at a straight, my knee needs to be straight above my ankle. So I'm not going to place my foot here in front of my knee. I want it to be right under. I'm going to, even though the arch is being supported, I do like supporting the calcaneus, the heel in my hypermobile individuals because of the joint space that exists there. We're talking about taping the arch here, and your heel bone gets connected to this ankle bone right here. So I do like to go across this joint right where that joint line is. I do like to have the tape going across those two for better support. So as I'm doing it, I'm just going to go ahead and start with the arch first, which is the longer one. And I'm going to place it under my foot. Can you see this? I'm going to place it under my foot, place my toes nice and straight. I don't want to be collapsed. I want to be with my arch lifted. So gently lift the arch. And with this tape, I don't have to stretch the tape. I place it right there, go across, and cross over and then go above in my leg. I'm just going to go ahead and do it and then show you what that looks like. So I start from the bottom, I go across and go straight up. The next thing I want to do is I want to take the next piece of the tape and go on the same area. I want to support that arch again. I'm going to go over that same area. Place my foot down. Once again, I don't want it to be collapsed, so it's nicely lifted. And I'm going to go across my foot to the other end. This will cover this portion of the foot. So I have one that goes from the bottom and goes across here, one that goes across the foot, and now I'm going to place the one that goes on my heel. So I'm going to turn my foot around and I'm going to start from, so where the bump is, this is the bump, and the joint line is just in front of that bump. So let me just show it on the inside. This is the bump, and the joint line where this is right there. I'm gonna place it in front of that joint line to cover it. So I'm going, that's the bump. I'm gonna go from the front. So that's the front. I'm gonna take this off. Again, the arch is lifted. I'm going across my heel and go all the way across to the other side of my foot in front of the bump. So it's nicely supported. It's not a brace, it's a tape. Now you want to pay attention to the kind of shoes. This is it, this is the taping. You want to pay attention to the type of shoes that a bendy individual should wear. Anything with a high top is a good thing for ankle support. If you have a tendency, and most hypermobiles do have a tendency to have a collapsed arch, you want to have a hard arch, hard support for your shoes to put them there to kind of keep them up. If you have high arches, that is not the case. You don't need to have an arch in your or a support inside your shoes. This taping is for people with collapsed arch, remember that. But anyway, so you do want to tape it in the direction that the foot wants to be. That's ideal for the foot positioning to increase your batting average. Having tapes, having braces, or any braces that you have, any supports that you have for your body, my opinion, should be in a duffel bag in the back of your car if you're driving, because you never know when you will need them. Hope this helped. If you have not subscribed to my channel, make sure you do. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you put them down here. I'll be more than happy to answer them. And if you have any suggestions for any videos, I'll make sure I read and maybe do one of those videos sooner than later. Thanks for watching.